Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the show, guys. I'm your host, Brett McCollum, and I'm here today with Brad Neal. And today we're going to be talking about how Brad has adapted to the market after nearly 20 years of being in the industry. So pretty excited for the show. Brad, welcome. I'm glad to have you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brett, for having me.
Perfect. All right, guys. Hey, at Investor Fuel, we're here to help you guys as real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs to 5X your businesses to allow you guys to build the best business you've wanted and the lives that you've always wanted and dreamt of and to create for yourselves, okay? So, Brad, again, thanks for having us, man. I'm glad you're here with me, and welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm excited to talk about like how you adapted to the market, what you've done. But before we kind of get into all of that, give us a little background, Brad. Who's Brad? How did you get into the industry? Catch us up to speed, man.
Okay. I've been in I kind of just stumbled into the real estate industry, back when I was 18 years old, like any other 18-year-old, kind of looking for some direction, trying to figure out what you want to do in life. And read a couple self-help books, trying to pump myself up and figure out which direction I wanted to go. And I read a few and came across one it was titled Find It, Fix It, Flip It. And kind of walking you through how to flip houses. And, this was back in 2006.
Nice.
So, the market was just about to crash, basically.
Yep.
And so not the best time probably to jump in, but I started flipping houses at 18 years old back in 2006. I pulled out a small loan for I bought a house for $30,000. Got just a conventional Bank of America loan, and put about 30 into it and sold it for around 100. And I thought I was on top of the world at 18 years old, getting a check at the closing table for after closing costs and stuff, probably $25,000 or whatever. And
that's huge.
Yeah, so I just I got the bug from then on.
I bet so, man. That's why. So 18 years old. At 18, I was nowhere even close to thinking about like, you know what I mean? Good on you for that, man. That's really cool. So this was back in 2006. That's when the market was weird. But you know what they say? When's the best time to plant a tree? Right, 30 years ago. When's the next best time to plant a tree?
Mm-hmm.
Right now.
Yeah.
So good for you, man. That's really cool. So you started in 06, you started flipping houses. But you and I've talked, like I said, off camera a little bit as well. And you've been kind of adapting to different things in the market as you've gone for the last, like I said, we're almost 20 years into this.
Right.
So how long have you been rehabbing houses? Are you still rehabbing houses? Like, what does that look like?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Yeah. I'm still rehabbing houses. I actually got into some commercial real estate, which I'd never thought that I would venture into kind of that sector. But to this day, I'm still rehabbing houses, doing commercial real estate. And then, most recently I've been dipping my toe in wholesaling for the past year or two. So
Nice. Yeah, that's all right. So let's start at rehabbing. All right.
okay.
So you got the bug. You started at 18 years old.
Yeah.
How you went through the '08 cycle where things crashed. How did that work out with you? Like, what was going on at that time?
Yeah. So it was, the days on market were a lot longer. Houses would sit on the market. There just wasn't much demand, right after the housing bubble and stuff like that. I would say it was a lot different in the fact that most of the time when I would look for a potential flip house, I would find them through foreclosures, either online foreclosure, bank-owned auctions, or actually going to the courthouse steps and buying a foreclosure in person. And the inventory back then was, I mean, you could buy as many flip houses as you want. I remember looking down in like Port St. Lucie, that had a huge housing bubble, and they, back in that time, you could buy a 1,500 square foot house, stucco block, a couple years old for like $70,000,
Right.
and those same houses today are probably
Exactly.
400,000, and so like you could buy. It was much easier to source potential flip projects than
Okay.
it is today, for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, you're the pro, man. Like, you've been doing this 20 years, but there's still deals in today's market,
Hmm.
right? Just it looks
Yep.
a little bit different, probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's your experience been with because I mean, obviously that from 2006 till now, pricing, the housing market like doubled, in some areas tripled even, right?
Yep.
What's your mindset when it comes to like what a deal looks like for you today, or or has it shifted over the years?
Yeah. I mean, and this kind of leads into, the wholesaling thing that I told you about, that I'm kind of gotten into, but like, it's definitely tougher to source, in my opinion. It's tougher to acquire flips. You've got to look, somebody has told me, if you're fishing, you want one pole in the water, or you want four poles in the water. Like,
Hmm.
you've got to use, in my opinion, multiple sources to find the deals in today's time, because back on like an online bank-owned auction site or something, there may have been, in that particular county, there may have been 20 deals back in the day, and basically you'd bid on them and they'd sell to the highest bidder. And today, there's one or two maybe, and you've got multiple investors that you're competing against. So it's a lot
Yeah.
tougher.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I think you hit on something, having, multiple, lines in the water.
Hmm.
That's powerful. Definitely a nugget people should write down. If you're listening to this, stop that, pause, write that down, have multiple lines in the water.
Yeah.
Um, because that, like, you do one thing one way forever and something happens and it gets turned off, you're going to wish you had more,
Mhm.
more lines. And that's powerful. Um, all right. So you still rehab, but you started, when did you get into the commercial side? Like you
Yeah.
said, that was kind of like I didn't even meet, but like, what does that look like? Like, catch me up on that.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, so I bought my first commercial property in 2013. So from '06 to 13, all I focused on was flipping houses.
Yeah.
And I had a local realtor that he would kind of send me deals as he got them. I'd look for foreclosure flip projects and stuff like that. And one day he just called me up. He's like, "Hey, I've got a guy that is getting up in age. He's got this 9,000 square foot commercial property with 8 units, right around 1,100 square feet a unit or whatever." And he's like, "Are you interested in it?" And at first I was, super intimidated. I'm like, I don't know nothing about commercial property. Give me a flip house and I can run the numbers and everything
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, I thought about it for a little bit. I called a friend of mine who lives up in Ohio, and and he does it on a much larger scale. He rents to like Target and stuff like
Oh,
that. And I told him, I said, "Hey, Jimmy, I got this property. This is what they're asking for it. This is what it's bringing in now, and this is what I think the rental value is worth. uh what do you think?" And he said, "What the hell are you waiting for?" He's like,
yeah.
you better pick up the phone, because if you don't, I am." And
Wow.
yeah, so I ended up jumping into that. And honestly, I think that was probably one of the best decisions that I've done.
Do you still own
So
that property?
yeah.
Good for you.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, sounds like a good friend. Yeah,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we need that kick in the butt to like do this, like, yeah,
Mhm.
that's really good. Good on you, man. So you own that. How are you renting? Is it what kind of is it a triple net? Like what are you doing on it?
Yeah. So when I purchased it, it was just a gross lease. It was X amount of dollars per square foot, and that was it. It wasn't a triple net lease. And I feel like, as far as like trying to acquire new commercial properties, there's a in my I now own 3 commercial properties, totaling, the largest one I have is in Gainesville. It's 17 units, but I've got 31 doors total. And I've what out of for all 3 of those properties, I've realized uh, the best way to add value to the properties is by finding properties that are on gross leases, modified gross leases, whatever, and converting them to a triple net lease, where you basically just, it's like found money.
Yeah,
Triple net is you're building in, your costs that you have on the property for taxes, property taxes, property insurance, common area maintenance stuff, dumpsters, you know, you know, anything that services the building. So yeah, that's kind of been that. Honestly, I've been using uh, flipping and wholesaling to basically drive that
there
goal
it is.
of adding more commercial properties, because they're super passive. I make sure that maintenance stays up on the buildings. They're super passive income. It's not like residential rentals where you're getting calls on the weekend about a fridge went out or something like that. These are business owners that are renting a space from your business,
Right.
and so they're pretty self-sufficient.
Dude, that's really cool. Um, so I'm just trying to think like I love the idea like your flips, your wholesale to fund the long term,
Hmm.
right? Like the thing that's going to be here tomorrow, right?
Right.
Um, because with flips, I mean, I'll let you speak to it as well, but with flips, it's you can make a lot of money, but it's also highly taxed, right?
Hmm.
You're
Yes.
gonna, yeah. So it's it's big upfront money, but it's also big tax, stuff. And there's not a lot, you don't get a lot of the benefits because it's all short term, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Um, I imagine, and I personally do not own anything commercial like that. So I imagine tax benefits are probably a lot better.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
am I close?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, I mean, with the flip houses, you get hit hardcore with capital gain, short-term capital gains tax and stuff like that. And with the long-term commercial rentals, you can write off, you can depreciate the property much longer. And there's some other, I'm not an accountant, but there's some you can do a cost segregation analysis on the property to, instead of I think it's they depreciate it over 29 and a half years, but if you do something like a cost seg, you can actually depreciate certain items like flooring and certain specific items that service the building over, I think it's 5 years.
Right.
So instead of
Get all
spreading
of
it
those
out,
benefits up front. Yep.
yeah, instead of spreading it out over 29 and a half years, you're depreciating it much faster over that 5 year span.
Interesting.
But yeah, there's a lot of different tax things with that, with the long term definitely
Are
versus
you looking to, is that something you're going to continue to do you think?
what's that?
Um,
The, co-
yeah, commercial acquisition, like looking, is that
yeah,
part of
I
your
look
strategy
at
long term?
I look every single day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was gonna be my next question. Like, what are you doing to, are you actively trying to source those deals? Like, how does that look for you?
Yeah. So, I've got feelers out to different local, real estate agents that I've worked with in the past. If they get, a bug in their ear that somebody's interested in selling. But, a lot of it is there's two main commercial real estate websites out there. There's LoopNet/CoStar. They're owned by the same company, and then there's Crexy. And basically, they're the Zillow or the Realtor.com of the commercial world. And so I check on there. I've got some very specific filters, and I get notifications every morning on stuff that hits the market.
Nice.
And yeah, so I'm actively looking for more commercial properties for sure.
Yeah. So using your wholesale and flips to fund this for that, right? Fund this to pay for
Mhm,
that. That's beautiful. I love that.
mhm.
Let me jump in. So you said earlier that you kind of in the last year, give or take, just started wholesaling real estate. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, again, another pivot, right? You've been doing this a long time. We all know the market's been weird over the last year and a half, 2 years, right?
Hmm.
Um, what led you to that? Catch me up on the wholesale side.
Yeah. I mean, so kind of in my tool belt, I had the flips going and the commercial real estate. And probably in the I'd say last 2 years, sourcing flips had been pretty difficult. So, I was driving, I spent some time, I try to buy flips only in areas that I'm familiar with, right?
Right.
And so I lived up in middle Georgia near Warner Robins for 3 or 4 years, and so I'm very familiar with that area. I did some flip houses while I was up there, and I found myself like driving to they don't do an online foreclosure auction. It's only in person. So I would drive 3.5 hours up there and bring a check in hopes to buy a flip house up
Wow.
there, and then I'd have a 3.5 hour drive back home to North Florida where I live, and be empty-handed. And I'd go to some of those auctions, and there'd be, back in the day, you could almost show up with a check and you'd buy. There just wasn't much, but now there's a lot more flippers out there with the real estate market kind of peaking out. I would say it's peaked out recently, maybe even 6, 12 months ago it's peaked. But I got into to answer your question, I got into wholesaling because I realized like I'm spending a lot of time just trying to source my next deal.
Right.
And I was getting a lot of text messages, phone calls, emails from different wholesalers, through different web platforms or whatever. And I'm like, what where are they finding these deals at? Like how did they find this deal? This deal would work for me, but when you pad in their profit and stuff, it doesn't work for me. And so I got into it. I attended a seminar on wholesaling, and you know learned quite a ton of information from there. And so yeah, I've been wholesaling basically since I believe it was like beginning of August.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah. And on the wholesale side, is it something that now that's in your tool belt too, right?
Hmm.
So the way I was always taught, right, when I like coming up through the wholesale ranks is using your wholesale deals. You cherry pick the best, you sell the rest,
Yes. Yeah.
right? All right, is
Yeah.
that something you're looking at yourself as well, or how do you envision your
Yeah.
wholesaling going?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, the nice thing with like the wholesaling side is, a lot of the leads come in through pay-per-click ads or any sort of ad lead sourcing, and
Yep.
basically just like you said, cherry picking them. So, if I just closed on a flip house, right, and I get a lead for a property that's in my backyard or an area I'm familiar with, and I feel comfortable flipping there, instead of selling that lead off to another investor as a wholesale deal, I can just keep it in house and hold on to it and turn it into the next flip.
Right.
Um, and so the beauty, to me, the wholesaling fits in really well because if it's something down in South Florida or North Georgia or Tennessee, wherever I may get a lead from for wholesaling, I'm making passive income by finding deals for other investors and making an assignment fee on it, and basically hooking them up with their next flip.
Right. Yeah, super valuable,
Mhm.
for sure. Dude, I
Mhm.
love it. So, man, almost 20 years in doing so. You made a couple comments about market changes. Maybe
Mhm.
we peaked, right? You kind of said.
Right.
Um, what kind of advice would you give somebody listening to this that they could take with them on their journey? Because I'll be honest with you, man, you're a veteran in the game, right? Like you've been doing this a long time. Like you're the definition of a pro. What advice are you able to give somebody that's listening to this to like from an adapting point of view? Because the one certainty that we have in life is that it's going to change. Life changes,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
what advice can you give somebody?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, everything's a cycle, and I would just say, look at the big picture, in certain, as far as it depends on if you're talking about, a flipper versus a wholesaler versus a commercial real estate investor. On the flip side, I think we're in a cycle now where things are cooling off a little bit, and I think that there's some people that out there that um, it's harder to find flip deals. It's a smaller profit margin, and right now inventory is coming up. So there's a lot more stuff on the market. Days on market's up, and I think we're going to be in the cycle where it's going to be cooling off, more inventory, more opportunity to get flip deals. But in that is the nice thing about flipping is you can flip houses in a upward trending market or a downward trending market. You just got to build it into your numbers. Uh, if you're selling in a downward trending market, you've got to plan that it may take you 180 days of carrying costs to hold this property, versus if you would have sold that same property 2 years ago when it was super hot,
Right.
you plan for 60, 90 days to hold it, maybe. So I would just say look at the big picture, as far as which way the market's trending, and don't get caught in a bad spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. But how do you not get caught in a bad spot? Probably we should surround ourselves with people that are like Brad, who's been doing this for 20 years and can say, "Hey, I know what it's like for homes to sit on the market for 180 days because I did it,
Hmm.
and you came through it, came out of it, and you're still
Right.
continuing." You have that's so many people from back then, man, like that I've talked to, like I flipped houses back in the da da da, and then like, well, what are you doing today? Oh, I
Hmm.
lost it all in 2008, and I'm never going back. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many people do you know that has that same story, and you being on the other side of it now, like I said, almost 20 years later and still active. And go
Yeah.
ahead.
When the market was, I would say was, because in my opinion, I think it peaked, back at the end of 2023, beginning of 2024, maybe, at least in the areas that I'm in. And I would say now, anytime I'm approached with a deal, I'm pickier.
Yeah,
If it's a more risky deal, and if it's a more risky deal, I'm going to make sure that I build in a safety cushion because of the way that the market is trending down versus, back when it was trending up, you could jump on a riskier deal, just because you had the safety of the market appreciating.
yeah, dude, that's great. So 2006, fresh out of high school, probably, right? You
Yep.
know, you bought some quote unquote self help books, and then you pressed go. Like I think that's the most successful people I talk to are those that they get out of education mode and they get into action mode,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, you were a little bit too naive to know better at 18,
You're right.
which may have worked to your benefit, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I think I believe, like, that's why real estate is the coolest thing in the world,
Hmm.
because it affords the opportunity for an 18-year-old.
Hmm.
I know teenagers that are, obviously their parents kind of are, but like I know teenagers that are in the business,
Hmm.
and now here you are nearly 20 years later, and it led you to, you've got these commercial properties, and it's forecasting your future for, not just you, but I would imagine you and your family, your children, your hopefully maybe someday your children's children, you
Right.
know that's legacy, man, and that's the beautiful thing. You know that's a really cool thing, and now you've got the added tool of wholesaling to
Hmm.
continue, like, even in today's market where it's a little bit more, um I don't know how, like, it's a little more uncertain, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You being able to draw back on your experience from 2006, 7, 8, 9, in that uncertainty, and knowing that you've made it through it, probably gives
Hmm.
you confidence today as well. And now you have
Hmm.
the added tool with wholesaling is into that.
Hmm.
Man, that's I just think that's the mark of a professional, man. Like, we've been able to kind of navigate the waters,
Hmm.
and stay in the game and continue to grow. So, man, it's super cool talking with you today. If
Yep.
people do want to get a hold of you in some way, what's the best way for them to be able to reach out to you, Brad?
Yeah, you can, send me an email address. You want me to give my email address and you do it in the comments or just here on the
We can
podcast
put it
or?
in the show notes. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, send me an email address and I'll send you my email address. You can reach out to me that way.
Yeah.
Um, cool.
Yep, perfect. Well, guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's show. We learned a lot. There's a lot to unpack. I encourage you to go back through the episode, rewind it, start it again, rewind it, start it again. Brad truly did unpack 20 years of into this short time that we've had. So, go back and do that. I encourage you. So, again, I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you guys on the next one. Be sure to tune in. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.